Hi, today we're going to talk about taking the instrument out of the case. So we're starting with the case that you've gotten now to play the viola. Your case might look something like this. This is a rectangular shaped case. Some cases are more triangular. That would be called a dart shape. What we want to do is set the case down on a solid surface, either on a piano bench like this or down on the floor. And that way you won't risk opening the case if it's in your lap and having it fall. So have it down on something solid. Then open the latches. And on this case, I need to get my fingernails underneath the lid of the lid because it's a very tight fit. Some of your cases may just open more easily than that. And now I have my case open, and you see that it has a cloth on top of the viola, so I'm going to be taking that off and just set it aside. And the next thing I'm going to do is take out the viola. It's connected down here and secured in. Do you hear that? That's a Velcro strap that holds it in securely. So now when I take it out, I'm holding it by the neck. And I'm holding on tightly because I don't want to risk dropping it. And when it drops, it is made out of very thin wood, and it can crack the wood. When I take it out, I'm holding it with my left hand so that I can take it and put it right underneath my right arm. Notice that my right arm is actually hugging the viola, and I'm having my arm go around this area of the viola, which is the bridge. Don't put your arm on top of the bridge, but put it around the bridge, and then hold on the side, the bottom side. When I have this in position this way, it's protected by my arm, and I can see the front of it, and I can walk around, I could talk to somebody, and the instrument would still be protected. So this is a good position to learn right from the very beginning. Now, I still have other things in the case. I have rosin, a cloth, a bow. I'm going to be talking about the equipment in the next video. What I do want you to know about the viola is that temperature affects it very badly sometimes if it gets too hot or if it gets too cold. When it gets too hot, the varnish will bubble up, and then it's a very expensive repair to get fixed at a repair shop. And if it gets too cold, then the wood can dry out, and when it gets too dry, then it might crack. So be careful to keep it the temperature of what you feel is comfortable for yourself. And the other thing that affects the wood is humidity. The best range of humidity for any of the string instruments, and for this viola, would be between 30 and 40%. If you go below 30, it can start to dry out too much, and especially if you live in a dry climate, be careful about that. And if you go above, you could go all the way up to about 60%, it would still be okay, but anything above 60, and then you might start to notice that it smells, or it's starting to form some mold in different places and in some of the crevices. The next thing I want to talk about is keeping the instrument clean. When you get your instrument new, it should be nice and clean like this viola. But as soon as you learn to play with the bow especially, you're going to find that some of the dust occurs right in this area where the bow is playing across, and it can get onto the body too. So we should always have a nice soft cloth to wipe off the instrument every day before putting it back in the case. And the next thing that I want to talk about is the bridge. The bridge is what holds the strings up. You can see that, and when it's sitting upright, it should be exactly straight up and down. If you see it leaning one way or the other, the force of the strings might pull it all the way over, and then you would have to have someone help you to put it back together. It's not broken when that happens, but it is difficult to get it back in playing position this way that it needs to be. So the last thing that I want to talk about is how the strings are attached by the fine tuners and the pegs. This is a fine tuner. I only have one on my viola, and then the other three are just secured. The strings are secured inside of these holes. This fine tuner can be turned to adjust the pitch to make sure that it's in tune, and the pegs are what we would use for the other three strings, and that's what holds the string at this end. Kids can use the fine tuners even when you're a beginner, but never the pegs. In one of our videos that we're going to be talking about tuning, I will be asking for you to have an adult or an older sibling ready to learn about how to tune with the pegs, because if you turn this the wrong way, you can break a string fairly easily, so we don't want that to happen. So that's how we would care for the instrument. Now it's time for me to put everything away, so my cloth is already back in the case. I will carefully lay the viola in right over the Velcro. Don't ever forget to secure the Velcro if you have it. And then I will put the cloth over for even more protection. And then I'm going to close the case. Now, never, ever, ever close your case and leave the latches open. Always close the latches too, because if you forget and pick up the instrument with the latches open, it could go tumbling onto the floor and you might break it. I hope that gives you some ideas about how to take care of your viola.